awesome. Well, we should definitely start with, first of all, hello to everybody watching. It's been a whirlwind of a couple weeks, so
Yeah.
we have not been good podcasters recently. However, we're back with an absolute load of sports information coming up here today. I don't even know how we're gonna get through everything.
Oh, we'll see. Um, I mean, first and foremost, I think the big thing we're starting with F1 because our guest will be joining us for NFL talk. But he's not coming for a little bit yet, so we're gonna knock out the F1 stuff first if we can. And there is a lot to talk about. Number one being obviously Lando Norris is the world champion. Let's freaking go.
Uh,
Super happy about that. I think he deserves it. If you look at the stats that he had this year, he had the most podiums out of any driver this year and any driver in McLaren. He set a McLaren world record or McLaren record. Um, and just put this into perspective, he had 7 wins, 7 poles, and 18 podiums out of 24 races, and 2 of them he was disqualified, and actually he was disqualified from one of the races and DNF'd in 2 other ones. So it's 3 races that he didn't technically finish, and he got 18 podiums in the other 21. So there are 3 races where he finished, was not disqualified, and he didn't finish in the top 3, which I think is absolutely insane.
it is. But not to I do want to give my congrats to Lando, but time when was the last time that a driver lost drivers but won the most races in a season?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I'm not saying Verstappen should have won because you're right, Lando did deserve it, but I'm just saying like I'm not even saying that is in trying to make a point. I'm saying that as like a
Yeah, that is
I don't
that
even
is
know
funny.
when is the last time that happened?
I don't even know. It definitely it has to have before. Otherwise there would have been a big thing about like, oh, he won the most races but didn't win. Oh wait, hold on. I'm pretty sure Sebastian Vettel actually there was I think he won a championship and I don't think he won any race except the last one. I don't remember which one it was, and I could be wrong. It might not have been him, but yeah, there was someone that like I think didn't win any race except for the final race of the year and won the championship.
Let's say that it barely ever happens,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
But this season was unique though, for sure.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, if you ignore all the McLaren drama, if you ignore the toxic fan base, I think this is one of the most exciting championship battles I've seen and that F1 has seen in a long time. Um, you
And
know,
it's a shame that the last race wasn't more interesting
yes,
with like the last race I remember because like we watched it together. It's
yeah,
like we were sitting there and like
I
just
got
waiting
bored.
for something to happen. Yeah. And it's so funny because McLaren was talking to Norris like with a couple laps to go, like, oh, we're thinking about softs now. And
Yeah,
it's like if I don't know if that was a decoy or what, but like, dude, I don't know. And that just brings me back to how is McLaren going to do with these new regulations?
I have no
Because
clue.
like they could barely get these regulations right in terms of strategy.
I have
And they
no
got
idea.
disqualified from Vegas. So it's like they couldn't even get these regulations right.
Yeah. Did you
I
see
don't know.
Oscar Piastri at the FIA Awards? He made a joke, or it was the McLaren Awards or something like that. I don't know. Um, but he was on stage and he was holding the McLaren Constructors Trophy, and he made a joke about like, yeah, this season's worn everybody pretty thin, not as thin as our planks in Las Vegas, but I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
And
that
like,
is funny.
Max and Oscar both gave huge congratulations to Lando. Lando
Oh yeah,
apologized for some of the stupid thing he's been saying the past couple of years about Hamilton and about Verstappen, and both Hamilton and Verstappen were like, "Nah, it happens. You're good." So I think it's shown that he has grown. I think he's still going to be the most hated driver on the grid next year, but he's going to have the
probably.
number one in his car, so who cares?
I mean, and the thing is, next year I feel like it's wide open for like who can win it just because of the new regulations. Like, if one of these constructors gets it right on the first try, they're going to have such an advantage to start the year because there's going to be so many adjustments, I feel like, throughout the season next year
Yeah,
where like the team start out really strong, and then as the season goes on, like other teams catch up.
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
I think
Um,
the team that's going to have the biggest advantage is going to be Audi on the level of they knew for the past 2 or 3 years that they were joining in 2026. They knew what the regulations were going to be. So they've had, I think 2023 is when they announced that they were joining F1 and taking over Kick Sauber. So they've had almost 3 years to study the new regulations and develop it, not having to worry at all about their current car because it was under a different name, different company, and all that fun stuff. I think they are going to have the biggest advantage. And if they don't, then what the heck were they doing in the meantime? Like,
oh,
what
I
were
know.
they doing in between? I also think
So I
these
put
regulations are supposed to make the cars smaller, thinner, more aerodynamic. There's more things that the drivers have to worry about on when they're going to have a higher. Like, you can change your downforce settings mid race, which is insane. So there's going to be a lot of like messing with your aerodynamic levels based on how you drive. And it's supposed to be a lot closer. All the engines are pretty much the same. Um, it's supposed to allow for better racing. So I think we are really going to see, as much as I love Lando Norris, I think we're going to see people like Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, who have the insane talent that they do, absolutely dominate the rest of the field. And I think Lando will be fighting for wins. I think Oscar will be fighting for wins. I think they will get a couple of wins, but it's new regulations, so they can't just rely on the car anymore.
right. So wrapping up on this year's season, here's the final driver standings.
Yes.
Which is funny because I remember when Oscar was in 2 and Max was in 3, and we were like, yeah, we could see Max getting second,
Yep.
very easily, which is just really funny. Um, and then we've got Russell finish. Russell had a great year.
He
Like,
really did.
he's just very consistent. And Ferrari, for as bipolar as they were this year, they did finish 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Antonelli, best rookie, 150 points. What do you think about Alonso still being in F? When's he going to retire?
I mean, there's been comments made about 2026, and he's kind of in the same boat as Verstappen. If he doesn't enjoy it, he's probably done. But
I'm just surprised he's still going with how old he is.
yeah,
I'm just surprised. And then Alpine, Gasly's the only Alpine driver to score points this year. We may have seen Tsunoda's last race too this year. Ever.
He's very optimistic that he's going to come back, but I don't know.
Yeah. And then in terms of team standings, obviously McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull,
Yep.
Ferrari. Williams was a big story this year. How about Carlos Sainz?
I know, and I think, Williams are going to continue in that forward trajectory because James Vowles is their team principal. I mean, he was with Mercedes when they won 7 world championships. And I think, as soon as he joined, everything turned around for Williams. They brought in Carlos Sainz, and I mean, I see them fighting for wins next year. They've been on the podium a couple of times already, so.
Honestly, yeah. It is nice to see them doing well.
Yeah.
And then, we've got everything else to round out.
Alpine
pretty much what you would expect here at the bottom.
Yeah, yes and no. I think I was expecting Aston Martin to do better than Racing Bulls, and I was also expecting Alpine to do better than Racing Bulls. Last
Oh,
year they
interesting.
weren't a bad team. They were a midfield team, but now they are. I mean, you have less points than there are races in the calendar. That's just insane.
And they're all from one driver
Yeah.
too,
Ugh.
which is crazy. Um, but yeah, Aston Martin and Racing Bulls were very close,
Yep.
89-92. I mean, that's a very small difference. Um, but is this the most dominant constructors performance ever? 833 points.
It's pretty darn close. If it's not, I mean, I have to look at McLaren, um, late '80s, early '90s. Specifically, I'm thinking when Senna and Prost were on the team, and they were nothing but 1-2s. Um, I'm sure that, but like
It
whenever
wa-
you see a dominant season with both drivers on a team being the reason why, I think McLaren's what always comes to mind.
yeah. It would have been so interesting. Like, imagine if Verstappen had Hajar this year,
Yeah,
because like they probably finished second, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean,
So
I'm very curious to see how Hadjar does in the second Red Bull seat because I want to know if it really is not like a curse. I don't believe it's a curse, but I'm wondering if that Red Bull really is just that much of a beast that is tuned towards Verstappen. That no matter who you put in there, you could put a second Verstappen in that seat and it won't go well. Like I'm very curious to see if it really is just because being Verstappen's teammate is that impossible in that car, or if it's just genuinely we didn't have good people test it out recently.
either way, this F1 season was one for history, that's for sure, with these three guys at the top.
Agreed.
Um, so moving on, actually, I did pull up the regulations,
Mm-hmm.
um, and a little bit of FAQs, if you will, on how some of these work, because I feel like I'm still trying to understand. Like, I do understand most of them, but I'm still trying to read, you know, what's really going on. So obviously DRS is over.
Yep.
That's done. But you now have overtake mode when you're inside 1 second, which is just deploying more battery.
Yes.
Um, and it's strategically used. It's for attack, and it's when they're within 1 second. It gives them extra electrical energy, which they can use to deploy overtake or pressure the driver ahead.
Yep. That's what
Um,
Formula E uses currently.
yeah. And drivers may use it all at once or spread across the lap, depending on when they have the best chance to attack or where they are most vulnerable. Vulnerable, which is why strategy is going to be so interesting this
Yeah.
year. Like,
Like
because now it's not only team strategy, now drivers have to have their own strategy as well.
I look at like when you and I play with Noah or just us, China. We just did the Chinese sprint in our two-player career in F125. And I look at like Sector 2, I'm golden. I think, well, Sector 2 and Sector 3, I'm great. Those first two turns, and then again when it does that sharp left-hander into another curved right on
Yes.
before the long straight, I don't know the name of those turns, but those two turns, that's a place where I'd be using attack mode because I'm like, I know I'm gonna get past. I am horrible on these turns.
Well,
So
yeah,
yeah,
like I literally come out of turn two and just use a bunch of battery.
exactly.
Like it's that bad. Same with three.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so they still have the boost button,
Yep.
um, which is nice. Um, they will oversee their own battery recharge,
Yeah, they'll be able to see it. Yep.
which is really interesting. Um,
Which
and
isn't
then
that much different than what they have now. I mean, it's called ERS modes, but like,
yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting though to see like how are they going to recharge this year differently from last year? Like I don't understand quite how this is different from last year.
yeah, we'll
So
see.
we'll have to see. Power unit changes. um, this is interesting too. The new hybrid unit,
Yeah.
you can use the ERS can now recharge the battery with twice as much energy per lap.
Which is awesome.
Um, yeah, so again, a lot more strategy.
Yep.
And this is the model that F1 posted, slightly smaller than the current vehicle, which, as you brought up multiple times, should make Monaco a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think it's ugly, but
Um,
that's just my opinion.
so that's pretty much all we have for now.
Yeah. I
It'll
think
just be
it's
interesting to
very
see.
the look of the cars is very reminiscent of the 2018 through 2021 era. Like, I mean, they're smaller, but I feel like the wings have the similar, like the far ends of each wing have that weird block pattern. Um, the floor, instead of being shaped and curved along towards the back of the car, is just pretty much a square. So I mean, I don't think they look that great, but also if they think it's gonna make it better, then all I care about is the racing. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest worry is, will this all work?
yeah,
Like, theoretically, yes, but it's like you're not going to know until you have those cars out on the grid, But, they're doing testing and stuff, so it's like I get it, but it'll be interesting to see.
real quick,
I think it could work. I think more cars, more agile.
yeah, real quick, scroll up to the engines because I saw
Yes,
something and something just clicked in my head. Yeah, that one. That
right
one.
here,
Yep.
power unit. Yeah.
So you've been in Courtney's Kia before, right?
So this is they're turning it into hybrid now, is what they're
Well,
doing.
they haven't always been hybrid. They're hybrid right now. It's just now it's going to be like exactly 50-50 split. But look at
Yeah.
the one at the top there, the paragraph that you're seeing. You've been in Courtney's car, right?
Yes.
She has a 1.6 liter V6 turbo in it. Like, I don't know how. Well, actually, she might not have the turbo version of the Seltos, but I know she has a 1.6 liter in there. Like, that engine that is in my girlfriend's car sitting in the driveway right now is pretty much the same engine that Formula One cars are using. That's
Yeah.
insane.
It's just going to be very interesting, like, especially with these cars and how they have to go at such high speeds, and all the heat that the engine and the tires are put under.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of wraps it up for F1 today.
Pretty much.
We'll be continuing to talk about you know regulations and any new information that comes out, but I mean, the grid for next season is pretty much it is solidified. Now it's just about the regulations and waiting. It's just a waiting game now. But we have our guest here. Andrew is joining us.
Two Andrews. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's how it always is.
And he's wearing Steelers, and I'm wearing NFC East
I'll be right
champs right here.
Damn, you bought your shirt already, or is that last year's?
No, this is just an Eagles shirt. That's
Oh, okay,
that's
okay.
all it is.
It's okay. I would buy it when Pittsburgh wins division. I'll be buying it like the night of. So
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the words on the Eagles shirt. It was like won it and or whatever, won it and done it already.
one. I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs, one and done. So.
Yeah, probably. They probably will. With how their offense has been, and that's the thing, even with Washington, their offense it wasn't that great.
Who are they projected to play if the playoffs when the playoffs start?
Well, funny you should say
I know
that.
nothing's like set up yet for real, but
Um,
it's the end of the wire. So
if it started today, I believe it would be the 49ers. 49ers.
That who would play?
I mean, you guys are the bane of the 49ers, so I actually feel like you would win that one.
I actually do, but yeah. So, did you just throw your jersey on, Ethan?
I did indeed. Repping the guy that just got
Oh my goodness.
50 points in fantasy.
Nice. Did he help you win your championship?
Dude, I'd never have a championship. Let's be real.
It's all right. I got bounced by Santoro's mom, so
No, well, all right.
that's embarrassing.
All right. So I guess we'll get started with just overall playoff picture, and then we can dig into some like more specific team situations.
Yeah.
But we've got 4 teams that have clinched already. Broncos on the AFC, Seahawks, Eagles, Rams, NFC. The Seahawks Rams game the other night, I don't know if any of you guys watched that game or at least saw highlights of it.
I didn't watch the whole game, but I
I don't
only had to see highlights to see it. It was
like Seattle's a really good team, but I don't understand how Sam Darnold can throw like 2 or 3 picks a game and they can still win. Like that's just mind-boggling to me.
well, I'll tell you one thing. That's not really going to work in the playoffs. So I don't know if they can rely on whatever they've been relying on in the playoffs. I mean, it was the Rams. I don't think the Rams have statistically that great of a defense.
Don't.
So
And also,
I'll
missing
go one further
Devontae
than that.
Adams,
yeah, I
I'll
mean
go one
they
further
they
than
are
that.
missing a few people, but
I don't know how the Sam Darnold is winning games. Period. Like that. If you would have told me at the beginning of this
That's a
year
good
that
point.
Sam Darnold is going to be leading the NFC
Yeah, exactly.
best team, I would have told you that you're insane.
yep.
Yeah, and now so Seattle just controls their destiny. But the thing is, last year the Vikings were the same way. They went like whatever 14-3. But they had the 5 seed because Detroit won the division, and then the Vikings lose round 1.
Yeah.
Because Sam Darnold, returns to his form,
Yeah.
his natural form. But yeah.
Natural form.
We've got those 4. The Bears Packers game last night. The Packers just absolutely choked. They were up by 10 with like 2.5 minutes.
I did watch pretty much the rest of that game after
Yeah.
halftime. That
And
was
then
pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, they botched the
Yeah.
onside kick, and then defense falls apart. Like that was just brutal.
Yeah.
But the Bears,
I mean, the defense fell apart is the way to put that, because that was a 50-50 ball to win that game in overtime, especially. Like, I don't know how you let Caleb Williams, of all people, throw a bomb and it basically lands right on top of your corner and the guy mosses you for it, essentially.
Yep.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it was crazy. But the Bears will probably, with a win next week, they lock up the NFC North, which is also insane. That we're talking about the Bears as a good team.
coaching change.
That-
That's all they needed.
Yeah, that's credit to Ben Johnson. Yeah, you're right. So this is where
Jaguars
things stand.
Leading their division is insane to me. I think, Andrew Santoro, you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago or a couple of podcasts ago, that we thought, they've gotten lucky with a couple of games, but we don't think this is going to hold out. And then here they are, still winning games. They're leading their division. I mean, they're almost a shore into the playoffs. Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville, their defense is a lot better than I thought it was, a lot better than a lot of people thought it was.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence threw for like 4 touchdowns and ran for 2 last week, which is like insane. But again, I think that's a coaching change.
Yeah.
Like they hire Liam Cohen, so it's like they have an offensive coach now and their defense is playing well. And I mean, they'll probably be a tough out in the playoffs, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go far in the playoffs, but I think it's not going to be an easy game for whoever plays them.
I was gonna say, who's hitting strides for them on their team? Like, they have Lawrence balling out.
And Jacoby Myers they traded for.
Yeah, I was gonna say they traded for Jacoby Myers. He's been I don't know if I'd say a stud since he's been there, but he's been producing.
Yeah, he's opened the field up a lot for them.
Yeah.
And then Travis Etienne, the running back, has been outstanding this year, especially after like a kind of a down year last year. So, yeah, the Jaguars, they're basically in, even if they lose this week, they're still at a 96% chance to go. So, before we get into the rest of the playoff teams, just a couple stories from the nobodies here in the basement. Jackson Dart for the Giants. I think he went in the blue tent again last week. This guy just cannot stay out of the blue tent. Concussions everywhere. Commanders Eagles game last night. Eagles win the division. There was like a big brawl on the field. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did.
I did see that.
There were like 3 ejections in last night's game, which was funny. What do we think about Shedeur Sanders starting for the Browns possibly next year? Because there were talks that, if he's good the last couple games, they might just roll with him next year.
I mean, they should.
Yeah, I feel like he's their best
Like,
option.
I was gonna say, here's the thing. I don't really have faith in Shedeur Sanders. I think he got drafted because of the, I'll say, the aura of his dad and how much his dad played a part in him playing football and all that nonsense that happened at Colorado. But teams passed on him for a reason, the draft, including my Steelers. five rounds straight of passing on Shedeur Sanders, and I just would ask the question, well, why is that? And I think some teams knew that he was not going to produce. But with that said, if you look at the other people that Cleveland have, as someone who follows Cleveland relatively well due to being in the division, they have nobody. They traded their best quarterback away. Who they have? They had Joe Flacco. They put him on the Bengals. I don't know why, but he was their best option until then. I know people are going to hate when I say that, but
I mean, it's the truth.
The older quarterbacks can still play. They had the experience. They just don't have the quickness and nimbleness of a guy like Sanders. But Sanders is inexperienced. He did do well in his first couple of starts, but then there were some pretty crappy moments. I'm not going to lie, watching the Browns games. I don't know. The Browns, they're going to be in quarterback hell for a long time, even with Shedeur in the mix, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Super quietly, though, his name's Tyler Shuck, the Saints starting quarterback, has quietly actually been really good. It's just nobody follows the Saints right now because they're that bad.
Yeah.
But apparently he's kind of a hot contender for Offensive Rookie of the Year with how well he's been playing. Apparently he's been like rising in the betting odds for that, which is crazy. I haven't really been keeping up with that. I know he's played well and he has like 2 wins, I think this year, 2 or 3 wins.
Right.
So that's cool. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be sustainable or not. It depends on the Saints and what they do in the offseason. But Jets, we can just skip over them.
Well,
Ethan,
speaking of that
thoughts
division,
on your
the Falcons,
Oh, yeah,
Saints,
go ahead.
Panthers. Could you find the Panthers real quick, where they're at? I know they're above.
Yeah, they're 7. They're in the hunt. They're in the hunt.
So here's my thing. I mean, obviously, this is never ever going to happen. But what record does Tampa have? Aren't they also 7-7?
Yeah. So and they play Tampa today. So whoever wins that game essentially is probably going to clinch and win the division.
I mean, we're going to have the third or fourth straight year of the NFC South being represented by an 8-9 or a 9-8 team. However, my thing is, there's 3 games left in the season. Panthers and Bucks both have 7 wins each. Falcons have 5 wins each. And they're saying the Falcons are mathematically eliminated. However, if they win all 3 games, they'll be 8-9. Regardless of if the Panthers or the Buccaneers wins, one of them will be at 8 wins. And if the rest of them lose out, they'll be at 8-9. But I think the Falcons have been so bad against their own division that even on the less than 1% chance that all those teams finish at 8-9, the Falcons will still be out.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Just based on the tiebreakers because of their division. Yeah.
I hate being a Falcons.
Atlanta's 2-3 in the division right now. The other 2 guys above you are 2-2. So
And
they play each other. One of them will go to 3-2.
Yeah.
So you're kind of out of luck there either way, I think.
Not that I would want them to go to the playoffs, because if I want to watch them get destroyed, I'll just watch their regular season games. But I'm so sick of being a Falcons fan.
Well, I mean, they're wasting the prime of Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. Like, they just can't get it. They have so many good offensive pieces. And, I mean, you could say, is it the quarterback? Is it the coaching? I mean,
I mean, even their defense, like, it's not great, but up until I think week 7, it was
Yeah, it was.
number one in the NFL of yards allowed. You know, I mean, you've got great safeties, you've got great corners, you've got okay linebackers. I think that's probably their biggest weakness on the defensive side of things. But, like, you have this insane defense. You have all the pieces you need for a great offense. You just cannot figure out your quarterback, and we have not been able to for like 3 or 4 years now. So,
And then just one more story from the people who are out down here. Obviously, Mahomes out, Chiefs out. That's big news, but we've known about that now. The Dolphins benched Tua this week, and they're starting Quinn Ewers, the rookie.
That'll be exciting.
Tua's upset. I don't know if you guys saw. There was a picture of Tua in the locker room, and he looked so pissed. Like,
Well, I would be too.
I mean, Tua, I just don't know what to say about Tua. He's just been so unreliable. Like, he has his games, but when it matters most, he just does not play well. And I think his under 43s is like 0 and like 20 or something.
yeah.
Out of the 3 quarterbacks from Bama, right? Which one of them was the best ones that got drafted kind of in order? Like, because you got Hurts. I think he was far better than Tua, obviously.
Yeah.
They have Tua, and then who's
And
the other
then
guy?
Mac
Jones.
Jones.
Like, I don't know.
I
If you look
just
at that
there was
Alabama
so
program
much
and the
hype
quarterback that
around
are
Tua.
produced out of there,
Like,
I'm not surprised he's being benched like after 5 years. You know,
there was so much hype around him when he joined the league. Like, I remember he was supposed to be like the next godsend.
Tank
and
for
then-
Tua. Remember? The
Huh?
Dolphins fans were saying tank for Tua.
Yeah.
Tank for
Yeah.
Tua. And they did, and now they're 6 and 8.
and now Tua is tanking for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the teams who are on the bubble. They're close. Pretty much, if they lose today, they're out. These 4 teams that you see in front of you right now, if they lose today, they're out. We'll start with the Colts and Phillip Rivers. They're playing the San Francisco 49ers. That's going to be such a tough game for them with Phillip Rivers. You know, if they lose, they're out. So what do we think about that game today?
I think they will. I think, you know, despite how injury prone the Niners have been, I think they are still just such a physical team that, I mean, they're pulling wins out of their butt, and I think this is going to be an easier one for them.
Andrew,
Yeah,
what do
I
you
agree
think
with that.
about?
I don't think Phillip Rivers is the savior of the Colts for sure, but
It's a good
I mean,
story, but
the Colts have been on a downward spiral actually since they played Pittsburgh and lost. Like, I
yeah,
don't know what happened to them, but it just seems like it might be one of those moments where Pittsburgh found a weakness,
Yeah.
and then teams are now exploiting that. They've watched the film and they just keep exploiting it. And so whatever they were doing that made them 8-1 no longer works anymore, and they haven't figured out something else that can work. So, and now the quarterback's out. They had to go on a 44-year-old. There's no way they're gonna. I don't think the Colts are gonna be able to make it in.
yeah, which is a shame because of how they started the year, and Daniel Jones was playing like out of his mind, which none of us saw coming.
No.
Nope.
Moving on to the Ravens, who are 7-7, they're hosting New England today. If they lose, their playoff probability drops to 26%. So basically a must-win game for the Ravens if they want to stay alive.
Yeah.
Who do we got today in Baltimore?
That's going to depend on what Pittsburgh does against the Lions, because even if Baltimore loses this game, their record and our record are going to be tied if they win one game moving forward. And so even if Baltimore wins to I think it's Green Bay next, which is probably likely now that their quarterback is on concussion protocol, but they could lose today and then win against Green Bay, and Pittsburgh could lose today and lose again.
Right,
And
it'll
still
down to
be
the last
tied,
week.
and then it all comes down to the last week of the season. So I think that's what the NFL script is probably saying.
Yeah.
That wants to happen. So
I do think call me
this one's
crazy.
going to be too close to call, even as a
Yeah.
Steelers fan, because the Lions is no joke today. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens are going to win against New England. I know that sounds stupid. We literally had our most recent episode is called "Are the Patriots Frauds?" And we talked about this. Most of their wins are against the bottom garbage
Absolutely.
teams that have already been eliminated.
Yep.
And Ravens, they're not firing on all cylinders, but I feel like they have enough cylinders firing that they can get past the Patriots. It'll be a dogfight. It'll be close, but I do think the Ravens will win that. And I do not think Pittsburgh beats the Lions today. Is it in Pittsburgh or is it in Detroit?
In Detroit.
Ooh.
It's in Detroit.
Ooh.
That'll be tough for
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
but Detroit's indoors, isn't it?
Yes.
So So
But
what is
the
I mean?
Lions,
Yeah, the fans, sure, but it's not that far of a trip for Pittsburgh, to be honest with you.
but the Lions are
Um,
fighting for their playoff lives. If they lose today, they're basically eliminated. They'd have a 6% chance if they lose today. So they're going to be playing with as much as they got today. Whereas for Pittsburgh, like you said, the division is going to come down to week, what is it, 18 and week 17 anyway? Week 18.
Yeah, week 18. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that the Steelers won't be playing to win, but, I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit comes out with more intensity at home.
I mean, also remember how good Aaron Rodgers is against his old division, though. That's the only
True.
thing.
That is true.
Now he did lose to the Bears this year, which is kind of an omen, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. And so, last but not least, we have the Panthers on the bubble against Tampa Bay this week.
I don't even know, dude.
Panthers are at home. Panthers are at home. Part of me would not be surprised to see the Panthers win today, actually.
I wouldn't be
No.
surprised to see the Panthers in the
They haven't-
playoffs. Tampa sucks. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
recently,
Tampa's
Tampa
off-
has
has
not
not
been
good
playing
recently.
well at all.
Baker's not the same since Liam Cohen left for the Jaguars job.
Yep.
He just hasn't been the same.
He's going back to the Browns, Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
At home with Baker. And so then we come up here to these current playoff teams. The Texans, they're in a really good spot. They play the Raiders today, which is basically a bye week. So they get that win, and they pretty much lock up a spot. If they win today, they have a 98%. The Bills are pretty much in no matter what. Literally, no matter what they do, they're in pretty much. The Chargers are probably going to be in as well. Big game for the Steelers today, but like you were saying, even if they lose, they're at 55%. It'll come down to that last game of the season. So yeah, this is about where we're at. I could see the Packers.
Sorry, go ahead.
The Packers dropping off. I could see the Packers losing their last two games, and then the Lions sneak in. I could really see that happening.
Well, besides their quarterback, they're riddled with other injuries too. Like Kraft was out last night. Dobbs got hurt.
Yep.
I think two of their linemen got hurt.
Yeah, Micah Parsons out for the year.
Oh, no. Mike is out. Yeah, obviously. But I'm just talking about last night. They had a lot of injuries. And I think that's probably what led to their collapse late in the game. But if they can't get any of those guys back for the last couple of weeks, I don't think they have a chance, to be honest with you.
So two things. One about injuries. Speaking, I feel like the Falcons would have had a better chance if Michael Penix Jr. was still in, which brings me to my point of we are now in double digits of key players on teams having torn ACLs. And the NFL and everybody's like, oh, what's happening? What's going on? Like, is it rougher or no, it's just every field is turf now. Like, you have, I think last time I looked, it was 16 torn ACLs of players that were starters going into this season. And the NFL's like, oh, yeah, I think turf fields are the way to go. But I've seen more injuries this year than I think I ever have.
Yeah, it's been really bad. It's been bad the last couple of years, but you're right. This year, you specifically have seen a lot of people with just torn ACLs.
Yeah.
And literally Jalen Carter, I remember this. It was Week 4, Jalen Carter on the Eagles specifically sat out in a game at the Giants. He said he could have played, but they literally sat him out because it was on a turf field at MetLife. They didn't want him to risk re-injury.
Yeah.
So,
And then
yeah,
the
they
other
should
thing,
definitely be switching to grass for
Yeah.
sure.
The other thing, talking about, and I don't know why I didn't pick up on this earlier, talking about the Steelers, we knew the NFC South was going to be dog water. We knew whatever team came out of there was going to be barely having a winning record. My thing with the AFC North, Steelers have always had a winning record, whether it's 9-8, 10-7, whatever. Like it's been on that barely winning record, but they've had a winning record. They've made it to playoffs. Ravens were supposed to be a powerhouse. Bengals every year are playoff bound, and then the Steelers are all of a sudden like I never thought I would hit a point where I'm like, yeah, I think Steelers are the strongest bet to win the AFC North with Aaron Rodgers at the helm.
I didn't think so this year.
Credit where credit's due. Like Aaron Rodgers is playing better than I expected, but what?
He's been the savior of the offense.
I mean, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers made them better for sure. I still think they're missing key pieces on offense, like an actual legitimate number 2 receiver. Because you got DK, he can be number 1, that's fine. But they waited till how long to get 2 more vets in there, and then you see what they did against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They had Rodgers' boy Valdez Scantling in there scoring a freaking touchdown. And then Adam Thielen all of a sudden gets signed to the practice squad randomly, and they have another veteran presence. And then as soon as they start the veterans, Aaron Rodgers has his best game of the year.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem with the offense, is the fact that they just don't have any veteran leadership besides Rodgers. They're all young. But, yeah, I never would have thought Pittsburgh would be on top of the division right now. Now it's close. If the Ravens didn't tank because of injuries and they didn't choke away a few games, they'd be leading it by a landslide. But funny thing about the Bengals, though, I actually heard that Joe Burrow wants out of Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I would too.
Rumor, but I honestly would be all for Pittsburgh cashing in on that opportunity on the offseason if he doesn't sign back with the Bengals. I think that'd be a crazy signing if Pittsburgh snuck in there and gave him a contract.
That would be.
I feel like
what Joe Burrow would do with Mike Tomlin as his coach.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to see Joe Burrow on another team in the next 2 years.
Well, how do you score 30-plus points a game and your defense somehow still manages to have you lose games?
That's what I'm saying. You come to Pittsburgh, you got no defensive problems.
Yeah.
Your defense will actually keep you in games.
I don't know. I still think the Bengals and Browns should just like rock, paper, scissors, who's going to be the better team and who's going to be the worst team. And then if like the Bengals win, the Browns sends their defense over. And then you've got the Browns defense mixed with the Bengals offense. I think that would be Super Bowl.
Shall we?
The state of Ohio, man. It's just not a good place right now.
Shall we do our weekly predictions?
We don't have to worry about tiebreakers. Let's go.
Yeah, that's true. We can just do majority rules. Yeah. Let's start over on the AFC side. We have the Chiefs, led by Gardner Minshew, traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans. Call me crazy. I think the Titans could win this game.
I agree with you.
Win this game.
I think they could too. I think, however, they would be stupid to really try and put a lot of their starters in, considering they're going to need the draft pick. But I could see them winning.
Yeah, I think the Titans will win. To be honest with you, I think the Titans they're playing for pride, but they're still trying to play for something. The Chiefs are demoralized right now, so they're not in it at all.
Absolutely.
Dude, Taylor
so
Swift
we
is
agree.
Kelsey in like a year. I'm calling it.
Tennessee's the pick. Okay, so then we have Buffalo traveling to Cleveland. I would definitely pick Buffalo, but the Cleveland defense is no joke. But it is Josh Allen, who is, by the way, Josh Allen should absolutely be winning MVP this year again.
Yes.
Because without him, the Bills would have already been eliminated.
Yep.
I refuse to believe otherwise. Like,
Yep,
I don't
I
think
think
their team is actually that great. I think it's being held up by Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that. I mean, yeah,
so
without Josh Allen, they're literally probably a sub 500 team.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, we'll
Well,
take
because
Buffalo
you
there.
look at those games where they went head to head with one of, speaking of high scoring games and losing, that game against Baltimore early, maybe even the first or second week of the year, it was like a 40 plus point game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Without Josh Allen there, they're not winning that game.
I think
no,
The Bills need Josh Allen in there.
that's the thing. Like when you look at key playmakers on a team, I think, obviously James Cook, I can't even say Kincaid is a key player anymore. But like Josh Allen,
yeah, it's like who do
that's,
they have
that's the only
offense?
name that comes to mind when you think of the Bill. Like for example, Falcons, Steelers, Eagles. You can name 5 to 6 players on the offense alone on each of our teams that were like, yeah, these are key players. And on the Bills, I'm like Josh Allen. That's it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And the definition of MVP is like, in my mind, if you take the guy off the team, how
no.
good is their team?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if you take Josh Allen off the Bills, they're not making the playoffs. You're right. They're sub 500.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Well, you
Yeah.
try telling all the NFL fans that vote for MVP that, Santora. We'll see how that goes.
well, that's the thing. I mean, he deserves back-to-back MVPs this year.
He does.
I mean, I think he's playing better in some ways this year than he was last year.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the team that he has around him. And then we've
I
got
agree with that, but they're not going to vote that way. The NFL doesn't want back-to-back MVPs, unfortunately.
yeah.
I think that's how it's going to play out, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're gonna give it to Stafford probably. But my thought is, I mean, look at how stacked the Rams offense is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put a lot of different quarterbacks on the Rams, and I'm not denying how good
3-year-old
Stafford's been this
nephew and
year.
quarterback and they'd win games. Like, I don't.
It better
see-
not go to Sam Darnold, that's for sure.
Oh my god, dude.
Because there's thoughts that it could go to him as well. But yeah. Anyways, then we got the Bengals visiting the Tua-less Miami Dolphins.
Arguably making them stronger.
Yeah.
I still
Possibly.
think Bengals win that though.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow's going to shred their secondary, which is non-existent in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, but then again, Bengals defense is probably going to let up 35 plus points. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you know,
they have been playing better. Granted, they did just beat Baltimore not that long ago. So
I just don't. I trust. I mean, Quinn Ewers is making his first start. You don't know what is going to happen
True.
there.
But they don't have too much film on him besides college film, and his college
Sure.
system's nowhere close to the NFL system he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that'll play a big part. And
He's going to
who
pull
knows?
Brock Purdy and
He's a-
absolutely ball out.
Yeah, he's young talent, man. I mean, they drafted him for a reason.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see how he does for sure. But I'm going to take Joe Burrow in this one.
Agreed.
Then this is sneakily one of the best games of the week. Jacksonville traveling to Denver.
I'm very excited to watch this game.
Oof.
Someone else go first because I have my opinion, but I want
Jacksonville, Denver. I have some thoughts on Denver. I think they've played a pretty, just like we were talking about the Bears. I think they've played, the Patriots. I think they've also played a relatively
Yes.
easier schedule than most. So they're 12-2. Yeah, they did beat the Eagles. Who else? Let's see. Who else? Do you have their schedule up at all, Santor? Who did they beat this year?
I
Out
can
of
pull
their
up their
12
schedule
wins.
quick.
Or I should say, how many
well,
above 500 teams have they played and beat this year? That's what I want to know, because I don't know, but I feel like they haven't beaten a lot of them.
they beat they beat a lot of teams in their they beat the Chiefs.
Okay, not impressive.
They beat the Chargers. All right, let's look. Here's their schedule. So they beat Tennessee, big whoop. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
They lose to Indianapolis when they were really good. They lost to the Chargers. Beat Cincinnati, and that was with no Joe Burrow. Beat Philly in a
Right.
really close game. Barely beat the Jets. Barely beat the Jackson Dart Giants.
Mhm.
Beat Dallas. Barely beat Houston. Barely beat the Raiders, who are absolute garbage this year.
Yeah.
Barely beat Kansas City. Barely beat Washington. Beat
Well-
Vegas by a touchdown,
So
and
just,
then
just stop there, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this season they have the most
one
single
score.
digit wins.
Yep.
Yeah, one score wins in the league. And so that tells you a couple things. That tells you that they are clutch, number one. So that might be a scary thing in the playoffs. Number two, their coaching probably out coaches their opponents, especially towards the later aspects of the games.
Yes.
I mean, they have Sean Payton, so I'm not shocked at that.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
other thing it tells me is that they're they're not as good as we might think if they're just hanging on. Because who are their two losses then, Santor? Who are their losses to?
They lost against the Chargers and against the Colts.
Okay, so two top tier teams.
Yes.
Right. You look at that, and who's their schedule coming up? They have you said they're playing Jacksonville today.
Jacksonville, they'll win at Kansas City probably.
I think they're gonna get stomped by the Chargers.
I could see the Chargers beating them. Actually, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so I mean, they got two tough. It's not going to end their playoff hopes, obviously, but they got two tough games. I think that'll tell us what we need to know in the playoffs coming up.
Exactly.
I just don't. I think the Broncos are one of the couple fluky playoff teams, just like the Patriots.
Real quick,
Just like
could
the
you
and
also pull up
like
Jacksonville's schedule?
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's some teams this year.
Yeah.
They've played some teams.
I'm trying to remember. I know they're 10-4, I think, but like I want to see what their schedule was. Not because I think they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure they beat some
All right.
good.
They've beaten so they beat Carolina, who we've seen is not a pushover this year. They lost to Cincinnati. Now, I mean, Burrow was playing, got hurt. Flacco came in and finished the job.
Yeah.
Or not Flacco, Browning at the time. They beat Houston, who is not a pushover.
No.
Beat the Niners in San Fran.
Yeah, that's
beat
a difficult win to do.
Lost to Seattle, not by a lot. Lost to the Rams, which is not surprising. Beat Vegas, barely. Lost at Houston. Dismantled the Chargers. Beat Arizona, beat Tennessee, beat Indy, beat the Jets. Now, they've had a pretty soft schedule, it looks like, too.
Yeah,
but
I was actually
the games that they're
I think
win,
Chargers, Texans, and Niners are really their good wins. Because I can't call the Colts recent win after how they've been playing like a good win.
Right.
But
that Chargers game a couple weeks ago, very impressive.
The blowout was it was interesting because you wouldn't have expected that. But it is impressive, I guess, to say the least. But was that at home against the Chargers?
Yeah, that was at home.
Yeah, it was at home against the Chargers.
I'll tell you what, though. Even if they lose to Denver today, they're going to win their last two games.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So after looking at both,
a tough one.
what are their thoughts? What are the thoughts on today?
They are at home. They are at home against the Broncos again. So I do like to take that in consideration. But
I was gonna say I think I got to go with the Windy City. I think I have to go with Denver because they're at home.
I'm gonna say Jacksonville because I don't know. I just feel like after seeing Trevor Lawrence shred, I mean, I know it was the Jets last week, but that was an absolute blowout. I don't know. I just feel like the
I think of that kind of game like I think of college games. Like I'm a Penn State fan. Our season kind of sucked this year. But I would expect a number 2 rated team like Penn State early on to absolutely dismantle those first 4 to 5 teams that they played.
Right.
So if you're looking at a playoff caliber team like the Broncos or even talking about the Jaguars right now, their game against the Jets 48-20, I would expect them to do that if they're the caliber playoff team. I would also expect them to dismantle the Colts 36-19 like they did, 25-3 with the Titans. So they had a couple of close wins, sure, but it looks like for the most part they're decently beating a lot of the teams they beat. At least those bad teams.
Yeah.
This is a straight up pick 'em. So I mean, Andrew, it's up to you because we're tied.
So I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go because I think they've been on a streak. So I'm gonna go with the streaky team right now in Jacksonville. I think
Yeah.
I like the slight upset.
This
to be
I
this
honest
just
with
one's
you.
going to be
trust the
such a good
Broncos
game.
defense. I trust the defense. I mean, obviously, this is a game that I think could go either way. I just trust the Broncos defense a lot more than I trust Jacksonville's defense.
And this is going to sound really weird. I part of me trusts Trevor Lawrence at this moment a little more than Bo Nick.
I agree with that as
So-
well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll take the Jaguars there. Then we've got the Raiders visiting Houston. I don't think we got to talk about that one
That's Houston.
unless you guys really want to. Houston gets the win. And then New England visiting Baltimore. We talked about this a little bit earlier. The Patriots got absolutely exposed last week in the second half. They were leading by 17 or 21 points or something, and then just got exposed by the Bills in the second half. That's kind of demoralizing. And the Ravens are fighting. I don't know. I feel like the Ravens at home is probably the pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if New England squeaks out a win.
I agree with Ravens.
What
Yeah,
do you
I don't
think?
know that. Oh man. So for the Ravens, again, as someone who follows them pretty well because of the division, it's going to depend on Lamar Jackson. They live and die by Lamar Jackson because their defense is not as good as it was, and they also have some injuries on their team. So, and what is it, a night game? Who's the home team with that? Is that New England?
No,
Or is it
it's
the
Baltimore's
Ravens?
home.
It's Baltimore, right? Okay. Oh man.
If this was England, I'd be smashing the Patriots, but I just can't do it today, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Man, that's a tough one. Because I do hate the Ravens. I can't let that get in my mind about this right now. But I do think the Patriots are probably the better team here. And I'm gonna go with the Patriots. But I'm not shocked if Ravens come in and beat them, especially being at home. So, but I do think they lose this game. Again, this isn't gonna matter if the Ravens lose and Pittsburgh both lose, because it's all gonna come down to the last week anyway. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think neither one is playing for any high playoff chances right here. Like New England's already in basically, and the Ravens are as good as in the hunt still. So it doesn't really matter if they win or lose. But I'm still gonna go with the Patriots. I'm gonna let my homer of a Pittsburgh fan get to the best of
Yeah,
me.
there you go.
So that's 2-1 in favor of Baltimore. But I could easily see the Patriots winning this though for sure.
I think that's the thing with the Bengals. The Bengals game, I think, the Chiefs Titans game is a game that I could see going either way. The Jacksonville Broncos game I could see going either way. Patriots Ravens I could see going either way. And looking ahead at what's coming up, every game I could see going either way.
There's a lot of good games this week.
Yeah.
Moving to AFC versus NFC, we've got the Chargers coming to town, coming to Dallas. Dallas is officially eliminated after last night's Eagles W. And George Pickens is causing a scene.
Yep.
It was a matter of when and not if I'm being honest.
People think that Pittsburgh was crazy for getting rid of him, but
Nope.
He reminds me a
he's
lot of
thing,
Antonio Brown with you have such high potential to be the best of the best in your time, but you are throwing it all away.
I mean, look, no one. I'll live and die by this. No one is gonna match the potential, or not the potential. No one's gonna match the skill level of Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
A long time. And he definitely his dramatic diva qualities got the best of him. But also his CTE most likely also got the best of him. But George Pickens, man, he is an immense talent, and I loved watching him play for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But then you see the quit on the sidelines when they pan through and do camera shots of the players after either bad drives or missed plays or losses. Like, you see the quit on his face every time.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want that in your locker room? Because that's one thing at least that Antonio Brown didn't do, is he didn't quit just because they lost a game or had a bad drive.
Well, okay,
Well,
hold on. Are you forgetting the famous Broncos incident
I'm
when
saying
he ripped his? Oh, okay.
in Pittsburgh.
You were like, you
Yes,
didn't
he
see that.
quit
Like the
on-
video
on-
just played through my head of him ripping his shirt and pads off and taking off.
started running around. Yeah, he quit there, but you know that was after he was already kind of losing it.
Yeah,
But I'm talking about in his prime.
Yeah,
Like George
yeah.
Pickens is in his prime right now.
Yeah.
I would say he's 5 years in. You know, he's had some experience, and he still acts like that. He acts like a little kid. You know, not getting his way. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
And with how the Cowboys are, like, you know, I don't know. I don't think the Cowboys have a chance even in the next couple of years if they don't make a change in their system, and if they don't get Jerry Jones the heck out of there.
Yeah.
Like,
Which he's not selling the team until he's in the ground and somebody sells it for him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're just like the Browns. They're gonna be in purgatory for a while
yeah.
until they get rid of someone.
With all that being said, I have to take the Chargers here. Herbert's going to shred their defense, and
I'm with you.
I just don't see Dallas. And George Pickens is showing his true colors now, so I feel like the Chargers win. Then we've got the Jets traveling to New Orleans. I have to take New Orleans here. Tyler Shuck,
Yeah.
the quarterback, has been great, and the Jets are starting. What's his name? Brady Cook, the third stringer, who is a rookie. I've never even heard of him until he stepped on the field last week and got destroyed by Jacksonville. So I'm going to take it.
With Saints as well.
I'm taking the Saints, even though the Saints are terrible. I'm taking the Saints too.
They also
they're playing for pride too, and they want to get some experience for their third string quarterback. It seems.
New Orleans has the better coach. Kellen Moore versus Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore's the better offensive mind. Like, he just is the better coach in my mind. And then we've got Steelers going to Detroit. As much as this is going to pain you, Andrew, I do think Detroit's going to win today.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
I have to give it to Detroit.
I'm going
as well,
Pittsburgh
fighting
just
for
because.
A playoff spot. Like, you're eliminated if you don't win today. I think Dan Campbell is just a menace when it comes to fighting for much needed wins. So I do have to pick Detroit for this one.
Also, Detroit is the best team in the league winning after a loss the previous week. So we'll see if the Steelers break that trend today, but I'll take Detroit.
Damn, you're giving the Saints negative 1. Wow.
I know. And then Niners going to Indianapolis.
I gotta go Niners. I just trust their team way more than I trust Phillip Rivers and the Colts.
Who did the Colts play last week? I forget. Was that was
Seattle.
Seattle? Yeah, Seattle.
They lost on a walk-off field goal.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's gonna be if Phillip Rivers gets a week of practice in again.
I was gonna say,
like,
this one's actually much tougher than it looks.
I agree
Sam
with that.
French.
Like I said, I just trust the Niners way more than I trust the Colts. They're so up and down, whereas the Niners are a consistent. Yeah, they have those fluky games or like close games, but like Niners are such a consistent team.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Niners as well. And then we've had a lot of NFC finishes already. Seattle won, Philly won, and Chicago won. Then we have J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings going to Jackson Dart and the Giants. I do think the Vikings are going to win. Better coach.
Yeah.
And the Giants' defense is horrible. The Vikings have a good defense,
Yeah.
So
I think I agree with that. I mean, as much as I love Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, and R.I.P. Cam Scatterbo in my fantasy team, but I love the Giants, young guys, but they don't stand a chance this game.
No.
it's just because the Vikings
not
defense.
playing for anything, and it doesn't matter. Like they're checked out. Their team's checked out, except for maybe Jackson Dart. You know?
Right. And Brian Flores' defense against a rookie QB, I think it's mostly the Vikings defense is going to take care of that offense, no problem. And then Tampa Bay going to Carolina.
I
actually got Carolina.
I think Carolina. Carolina's just been decent lately.
Yeah.
And didn't they beat them recently? Didn't Carolina win against the Bucks recently?
No, they play the Bucks again in Week 18 in Tampa.
Okay.
No, the Bucks lost to the Falcons last week, I think.
That was the Falcons.
Oh yeah, that horrible loss.
Mixing up my division games here, but that's all right.
Well, they all have the same record basically, so it's fine.
Yeah, true. They're all the same team.
I think, Carolina at home, I do see a world where Carolina wins because they're playing decently, but I also see a world where Baker returns to form for even if it's just for one game. So I'm at a I'm at a coin toss here. I don't know.
Carolina's defense has been better than some people think, I feel like, this year. And Baker has not been as good, and the Tampa's offense just hasn't looked the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Carolina. And then to round off our episode today, we've got the Falcons visiting Arizona.
I don't know. They should win this, which means they'll probably lose.
Yeah, I got Arizona because of that.
Can I vote for a
I
tie?
do think,
Hope for a tie.
in all honesty, I do think, and I mean, Santoro can attest to this because I have been very skeptical about the Falcons and very pessimistic about them. I do think the Falcons win this. Arizona's offense just doesn't exist. Their defense has so many holes that I think, Kirk Cousins can exploit. But that name is the linchpin because Kirk Cousins is either the best quarterback you've ever seen in the world, or he is the worst quarterback you've ever seen in the world. And I
prime
do think,
time, right?
Yeah, but he's good in prime time. No, I don't know if this game
Prime time Kirk Cousins.
is it prime time.
No,
Isn't it?
this is not a prime time.
This is
No.
not.
But
Well,
I
then
do
that's a
trust the
loss.
Falcons more than I trust. I think the Falcons' offense is way better than Arizona's offense right now, and I think the Falcons' defense is slightly better than Arizona defense right now.
Personally, I'm going to take Arizona, so it's up to you, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm actually go with the Falcons. Here. I just don't like the Cardinals team. Like they're just not. They're almost like people complain about Pittsburgh not having identity. They just don't do anything great.
They're
So
there
like
to fill
I
a
don't know.
division
At least you have superstars on Atlanta.
Yeah.
Currently, like Pitts. You can include Penix and Cousins as two good quarterbacks, but you also have plenty others.
I was so
like
I was so
Bijan
mad when Penix went
and-
down because
yeah.
he was consistent. Penix was consistent. He may not have been the best, but
Yeah.
whenever Kirk Cousins steps on
Well,
that
he's young.
field, I'm like, cool. So there could be a bomb in the middle of the stadium, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like every time Kirk Cousins
Yeah.
steps onto the field for the Falcons, I never know what's coming because he could ball out and beat a team like the Eagles. Or he'll he'll face Tennessee at home and he'll look like Tennessee's the best team on earth. I never know with this team.
So after our predictions, if they come to fruition, these are the playoff teams on the left and right of the screen. After this week, the Jags would move into the 2 seed, by the way, which is insane.
Real
The
quick,
Panthers would be the 4th seed.
just for fun. What would happen if you switched it so that Denver won? We'll go back to Jacksonville, but I'm just curious to see. Jacksonville would still
Wow,
be in the
that
playoffs. Okay.
moves Jacksonville to the 7th seed, and Houston would be leading the division.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that one game moves them from the 2 seed to the 7 seed, whether it's a win or a loss, and also depending on what the Patriots do. So
Well, so you guys picked Baltimore to win, right? And then this list you said it updated for next week's standing. So that didn't even change anything in the AFC North as far as leaderboard.
Nope.
exactly. So this is how it
That's
would
why I
be.
said this game doesn't even matter. So like both teams could lose
Yeah.
Right.
or win, and it wouldn't. Or
It
one
literally
and one.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now,
Pittsburgh lose,
interesting is
Baltimore wins. It's still the same. So
the Rams in 1 week went from the 1 seed, and if
Yes.
San Fran, they're going to go all the way down to the 6 seed if San Fran wins today. That's
that's
insane.
also
What happens
that's
if
a
the
little
Colts
crazy.
win? What would that put Rams 5, Niners 6? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what's funny is, remember, Ethan, in our last podcast, I said the Niners have a path to the 1 seed. They still do.
Yeah,
If they win out,
They do.
they win out, they would beat Seattle and they would get the 1 seed.
Hang
I
on.
said this like 3 weeks ago. I was like, call me crazy, but the Niners are going to win out and get the 1 seed. And they still could, which is absolutely insane considering the amount of injuries that they have. I mean, they don't have.
Dude, listen to their
I mean,
schedule.
Brandon I.
Yeah.
They play the Colts obviously tomorrow. They play the Bears on Sunday. And
Ooh,
then
that's going to be a tough game.
That's going to
actually.
be a tough game. But they play the Seahawks on January 4th. I think you have a Seahawks team that is very good at making turnovers happen, and a Niners defense that is very good at creating opportunities for turnovers.
Where is that game being played? Is that in Seattle or San Fran?
It's in San Fran.
Wow, that's actually really big. Actually,
So is the Bears
So-
game. So this is the last away game
Dude,
that
this
the
has
Niners
to be-
have.
This has to be one of the best playoff races in like the
Oh my
last
God, yeah.
5 to 10 years.
I
like no
love
doubt.
the variance. It's like I feel like the NFL this year is so unpredictable.
A bunch of new teams getting in, a bunch of close close records, like coming down to the last 3 weeks of the year, dude.
Every
This
single
is like-
game move your seeding by like 5 positions if you win or lose. You know,
People
Check
wonder
this out.
people wonder why like other sports leagues like basketball, baseball, even hockey and all the big sports, like why those playoff races don't get as much attention as this. It's because the NFL comes down to things like this all the
Yeah.
time. Where
And-
you never know which week is going to change the playoff picture. When you're looking at baseball, there's 180 or 160 games. One game ain't going to change the playoff picture week to week. Like it's do or die for these teams, and that's what's fun about it. And I can't remember the last year that we've had only like 4 spots confirmed with 2 weeks left. Like,
well, yeah,
And
that's
look at the
crazy.
teams- look at the teams that are still on the bubble. Like, I mean, I can't remember a time, like looking at what we've predicted from this week, where we had 2 teams in the Ravens and the Lions that were like, yeah, they could still make playoffs, even though their record isn't saying that they will. Like, I
Yeah.
can't remember a time when we've had more than 7 teams that were definitely like, yeah, we're going to the playoffs. But looking at the Seahawks schedule, so obviously they beat the Rams. They play the Panthers next week in Carolina, and they play the Niners the week after that so both of them are away games. So if the Seahawks win against the Panthers, which I think they can do, I could see the Panthers winning that, but I think I safely can say the Seahawks will win that. And if the Niners beat the Bears, the Seahawks will be 1 game up on the Niners going into the final week. And if the Niners win, they will not only
They win
take
the top
division, they will take the top spot.
Absolutely, absolutely
That
insane.
is insane to
And-
think about.
Now the Niners do have to win out, but
Yeah.
if they control their destiny to the 1 seed, if they win out, that's it.
And they've
they-
got a
they
tough
get it.
schedule. I mean, the Bears are no
Be tough.
slouch.
Oh yeah, the Bears are no joke.
The
Although
Seahawks,
last night they
obviously.
were kind of a joke, and the Packers were just
I was
even.
gonna say they weren't that good last night, but everyone
Um,
gets a bad game here and there.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's a division game too, so you never know what happens in those.
yeah.
that's true. Yeah, but you're right though, Andrew. Back to what you said. Yeah, with 2 weeks left after this week, we've got only have 4 teams that have clinched a spot, and only 1 team has clinched the division. I think that's even
Yeah.
more surprising.
That's even more crazy. Yep.
Like
that's-
only 1 team has clinched the division with 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's such a close race everywhere.
You're just
Well,
bragging because it's the Eagles, bro.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's
funny
that's why I had to
because
bring it up. You know.
you got to look at the Eagles' record now that they've clinched. They're 10-5. The Broncos are 12-2. The Seahawks are 12-3,
And have
and
not
they haven't
clinched
clinched their
division.
divisions yet.
Yeah.
Well, the Eagles, I will say, the Eagles probably had the easiest path to clinching a division this year
Sure.
because everyone else in the division sucks.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I had high
You
hopes
know.
for Washington.
Yeah, that's really the one division with a set we knew was going to win the division. I think at the beginning of the year.
yeah,
Obviously some things happened to other divisions like the Broncos because I don't think we expected the Broncos to be in first. I thought we all expected the Chiefs to be somewhere up there.
Yeah.
But also no one thought the Patriots would be first in their division either.
Yeah.
So
true. Well,
sure as heck didn't think Pittsburgh would be in first by this point. Even the Buccaneers, I don't know. I didn't see the Buccaneers being that good either.
I saw a stat this week. This will be the first playoff in, I think it was 25 years without either Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning,
Jeez.
Yeah.
which is insane. That's so hard to
You go
fathom.
back and even looking back from 2000, maybe 2004 and on, or 2000 and on, the AFC, even just the AFC alone, look at the quarterbacks in the AFC that made it to the championship games or the Super Bowl. It was 4 guys
Yeah.
from then
Brady,
until they retired.
Manning, Roethlisberger, and
Mahomes.
am I missing one?
Joe
Joe
Flacco.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
Flac-
We were
And
talking
then,
about before.
and then after Flacco was Mahomes, yeah. Flacco was the one outlier of that bunch that made it there
I
twice.
saw
Yeah,
a,
but all
really
the rest
funny,
is-
a really funny post that was if you're worried that your childhood is over, don't fret because the Broncos are good, the Patriots are
Yeah.
good, the Seahawks are good, and Philip Rivers is back in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I'm just so surprised that the Rams today could be the 6th seed.
Yeah.
They were literally just the 1 seed before they played on Thursday night, and they're about to drop to the 6th seed with a Niners win today.
Well, at one point, the Bears were the 1 seed, and then they
Yeah.
lost, and they went all the way down. Now they're back up because they beat the Packers last night, but
And
Yeah.
again,
that's only because they played the early game. So we'll see what the rest of the league does, but they'll probably jump back down after this week
I
in seeding,
said
I would
this
think.
at the beginning of the season. Now, obviously, the podcast wasn't happening then, but I said at the beginning of the season, you watch, the Chiefs are going to be exposed this year. They don't have enough prime playmakers. They don't have enough stable people that won't get arrested or injured to stay on the team long enough to make it to playoffs. My thing, though, I never would have imagined that the Broncos would be leading the AFC. I'm sorry. What?
It's very insane.
Yeah.
And honestly, real quick, I just wanted to do something that I don't think we've done yet. I reset our picks because I kind of want to go to the wild card round. If the playoffs started right this second,
Okay.
without the game that we played today, these would be the matchups right here that you see on the screen. And what's funny is some of these lower seeds are actually kind of better, I feel like, in some ways than the higher seeds are. I mean, we would start with Chargers versus Pittsburgh, and honestly, I feel like Pittsburgh would have a chance. I don't know if they'd win the game, but
I mean, it'd be at home, so And we
But-
lost to the Chargers this year, but it wasn't as big of a loss as it could have been.
and then the Bills would travel to Jacksonville, which would be a good game.
Yeah. Houston,
Texans travel to New England.
That would be a good game.
I feel like the Texans could actually win that
I
game.
actually would pick
Yeah.
the Texans. At this point in time, looking at how both teams have played in the past couple of weeks, I would pick the Texans.
And what's funny is on this side, you have the Rams, who recently have been struggling against the recently struggling Tampa Bay.
I pick Rams.
And then the Bears would get a free win
Yep.
if this was the matchup,
Yep.
because the Packers are literally a hospital right now. So these are how things look today, but we'll get a lot of answers after today's games for sure on how this
I
is
mean,
going
for
to
the
can't help but
Packers,
notice-
I'd like to think they'd get some of their team back
Well,
by the end of the
playoffs,
season. Not Parsons, obviously, but I think Jordan Love is only in concussion protocol. It didn't look like it was that bad of a concussion, but
If Love is okay, I mean, the Packers should have won last night. So it's not
Yeah,
out of the
they could.
question if, the Packers could win this game in the playoffs if Jordan Love was healthy and if they get some of their defensive guys back who they lost last night. Um, but yeah.
I can't help but notice you glossed over the Niners-Eagles game, Andrew.
Well, I glossed over it because no, I don't know if Philly would win that. I mean, here's the truth. Philly's defense is elite. Like,
Yes.
it's so good.
Agreed.
The problem is the offense. The Philadelphia offense leads the league in 3-and-outs. And I don't know if you knew this or not. Take a guess on which team is number 2 leading the league in 3-and-outs. Take a guess.
Is it the Niners?
Pittsburgh.
It's the Denver Broncos.
What?
Isn't that insane?
All right.
That is insane.
I
That's
have
even
to
more
say-
reason to not have belief in them going forward.
Yeah, exactly. I have to say, if the Niners were home, obviously they won't be because of how the seeds work. If the Niners were home, I'm slamming that Niners button all day long. With it being in Philly, I'm not sure. My dad is a huge 49ers fan, and if this were to happen, he's been thinking about going to a playoff game. He would get murdered. Like, he would show up in Philly with his gun, with his Niners jersey, and then if the Niners won and he tried to leave the stadium, I think he would be shot in broad daylight. CCTV footage, everything. Like, he would be dead.
It's crazy.
I think he'll be fine, bro. I don't think that. I've been to Philly for a couple of Philly-Pittsburgh games, and we've gotten massacred, though. We didn't beat them each time, but Philly fans aren't as bad as people make them out to be. I promise you that.
Well,
as someone who lives close to Philly, not a Philly Eagles fan, but I am Philly everything else.
you haven't
Don't
tried to
judge
wear
me for
a
that, everyone
Mets
who's
shirt.
watching.
You
all
haven't tried
12
to wear a
people.
Mets jersey in
But-
the Phillies stadium.
Yeah, Ethan, I went to a
Oh,
Philly
you're-
game here, and he had a Mets
Steve.
shirt on, and the guys behind him were giving him some.
See, that's different though. It's not like the Niners are a huge rival.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
yeah, recently there's been some beef, but like, yeah, you go to Philly, Dallas, wearing a Dallas jersey,
Yeah,
you're gonna get
get
mugged in
killed.
the streets. That's your own dumb fault for doing that. Like, same
Yeah.
with the Mets jersey, bro. You're gonna wear a Mets jersey in Citizens Bank Park. That's just asking for people to just beat you up
Darn right.
on site.
I gotta
It'd be
represent.
like a Flyers Penguins if someone's wearing a Crosby jersey walking into the stadium.
Yeah.
Of course, they're gonna get heckled and sworn at and verbally abused and maybe physically abused. You know,
One thing that I completely forgot to bring up today, which, by the way, these are the hypothetical playoff matches. We'll come back to this next week because I could see the seeding being very different. But one thing that I completely forgot is we've got the college football playoffs, which started 2 days ago.
Oh yeah.
And this is where the current bracket stands here. Oregon dismantled James Madison, which we all expected. Alabama had a massive comeback. They were down by 17, ended up beating Oklahoma. Ole Miss beats Tulane, which, again, we all saw that coming. And Miami wins in, like, the lowest scoring game.
That was such a
In college football.
horrible game to watch.
That reminded me of an Iowa Hawkeyes game. Like, that was just unbearable.
10-3, baby.
But there's been a lot of talk on, like, the 11 seed and the 12 seed. Those two seeds go to, G5 teams that are in, like, outside of the Big Four.
Yeah.
And it's like people are arguing, like, should they even get a spot? Because it's like those were two free wins for the 6 seed and for the 5 seed. So it's like, should we be
Man,
a group of 5 teams to the playoff if they're just going to get blown out every time?
They have a lot of work to do with this seeding mentality in the college football playoffs. Like, I like that they're adding teams, but
I do
there's
too.
talk about them adding more, and it's like, if you add more teams, you definitely need to make some stipulations on these worst teams getting in.
Yeah.
Like, I like the fact that you can take a lower tier, conference winner or like best record from their conference, but like, taking teams that get, like, who was it? Let's see, like
Tulane and
I don't know.
James.
But yeah, like Tulane.
Madison.
Like, why is Tulane in the college football playoffs?
And
Like,
James
okay, they have a good
Madison.
record. Okay, yeah, and James Madison. Like, granted, they at least scored points against Oregon, and they were, they're only ranked 24th, which is the bottom of the barrel of the ranked teams. But like, why are they getting into the playoffs at ranked 24 and
Over
20 for Tulane?
over Notre Dame and BYU were the first two teams
And as
out.
much as I hate Notre Dame because they think they're better than everyone else by not being in a conference and they want special treatment, like they're a better team than Tulane and James Madison.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What is the deal with that?
Well,
Yeah.
and if it would have just done regular, like if they would have just taken the 12 best teams, we would have gotten not Texas, Ole Miss versus Notre Dame, which would have been an
Right.
outstanding game,
Yeah.
and we would have gotten Oregon hosting BYU, which again would have been another great
Yeah.
game. So we missed
Yep.
out on two good games because we need to let the small schools have their moment.
Right.
Like you said, though, I'm glad we have small schools that are going to be participating, but they need to figure out how they're going to do it because it's not this. This
Well,
is not it.
Yeah. Like they need to reseed a bit, I think. But like, how would you even do that? Like,
I mean,
that's
you,
the question.
You also have to
And they
look
want
at,
to add
like,
more teams. That's not necessarily a good idea either.
Yeah. You also have to look at like teams like Penn State that, should have probably been in playoffs at the beginning of the year. Like everybody, they were the number 2 seed. They definitely should have made it to playoffs. Where does that spot go? Who got that spot instead? Like, I mean, when you have teams like Penn State that didn't make it and they probably should have, that opens another slot for teams like Tulane and James Madison to get in. And I agree. I think they really need to work on the seeding.
I mean, I think that's also a flawed argument too, because even though you're right, like, okay, who takes Penn State's place because they tanked? Well, okay, well they re-rank all the teams when someone loses like that. So there's so many better teams than Tulane and James Madison that probably could have made the playoffs, but they didn't because they either didn't win their bowl game or they were the second or third best record in their conference or their division, whatever you call it.
So. Yeah, what they do is they take for the 11 and 12 seed, it's the best group of 5 conference champion winners. So James Madison won their conference, Tulane won their conference. But it's not, like Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC. Yeah. It's, Tulane wins the American Conference. James Madison wins I think it's the Sun Belt, but I might be wrong. Yeah. Either way, it's like those conferences aren't going to go any, like, I don't know. I want to see them represented, but at the same time, it's just going to result in blowouts like we saw.
I mean, I think I'd rather see, as much as people are going to disagree with me, I'd rather see what the Big Ten is doing, which is now they should just rename it the Big 20 at this rate because that's what it'll be. I'd rather see larger conferences, and I'd rather see if they're going to expand. Let's say they expand to a 2014 format at some point in the next 4 years, right? They should just have all these bigger conferences have like 20 teams in them, just like the Big Ten's doing.
Yeah.
And then that way you could take the top 3 to 4 teams of every conference, and then intermingle those non-Power 5 winners of their conferences and championship games. They're still going to get blown out, but at least you would see that the 3 to 4 best teams of each Power 5 conference in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's a flawed thing. However, I will at least admit that this is better than watching just 4 teams get in. It makes it a bit more competitive.
That was a dumb idea in itself. Like there's so many college teams, then you're gonna pick the 4 best ones voted on by the the experts.
So like we're sitting here bickering about the 11 and 12 seed when in reality those 2 seeds were the only issue. Everything else was fine.
It's
like so at least we have what we have, and it's not 4 teams. It's actually a competitive field. But
as a fan of football in itself and a fan of college football, I don't want to watch James Madison and Tulane get manhandled.
Right.
I would have much rather saw Notre Dame. Like
yeah.
It's just a flawed system right now. They'll get it right at some point, but it's all about money. They'll realize that when people tune out of those games in the
Right.
the 11 and 12 seeded games because they know who's going to win.
Absolutely.
When Vegas makes no money off of it, then they'll start changing their formats
Well,
because
the spread for the Oregon James Madison game, Oregon was favored by like 24 points.
yeah,
Why are you
exactly.
going to that game? Why
No
you?
one, no one's gonna bet on that game. No one's gonna make any money. So they're gonna change the seating at some
Yeah.
point.
You're right.
All right. Oh, shit, I just hit my mic.
Well,
I do have to
I
hop
think
off.
just
so.
about. Yeah, I was going to say I think that just about wraps up the episode. But next week we'll continue with more NFL talk. That'll probably be the bulk of the episode next week because we're really getting closer to playoffs. So, otherwise, thanks for tuning in to those of you watching, and thanks to Andrew for being our guest today. I'm sure you'll be back
man.
next week, possibly. you said.
Possibly next week, but for sure the 4th, especially for that Ravens Steelers finale.
Heck
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna be on to that one. So
sounds
definitely
good.
like to talk about that.
Cool.
But yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully in the next 2 weeks.
All right. See ya.
Sounds good. See you guys.
All right. Later, guys. Have a good one.